Many of us say we want a better life, but two things can prevent that from happening. It's almost like they're invisible. We're going to uncover these two things and talk about how they can work together to create the opposite of what you want, a negative frequency feedback loop. But knowledge is power, and once you know, you can change things for the better. So let's talk about these invisible forces, and I'll show you how to use them to your advantage. Welcome to Closer to Your Higher Self. My name is Jerome. I'm a coach, and I want to help you create a life you love. Have you ever been in the market for a new car? Now, what happens when you finally decide what car you want to buy? Years ago, I was in this position. I decided I wanted a Jeep Wrangler. And what happened? I saw Jeep Wranglers all over the place. 2 doors, 4 doors, different colors, different years, just Jeeps. And this is because of what's called the reticular activating system. This is essentially a filtering system. So once something is on your radar, so to speak, you notice it a lot more. So in my case, the Jeep was on my radar, so I started to see them everywhere. The reticular activating system filters information. Our brains simply couldn't handle all the information that we're presented with on a daily basis. So to keep us from becoming overwhelmed with information, the reticular activating system lets a lot of information pass by unnoticed. So is this good or bad? Well, it's neither. It depends on what you're focusing on. If you're just noticing new cars, there's no problem. But what if you have the idea that people just don't understand you, or your coworkers don't like you? What is that filter going to do? It's going to put all your interactions through the filter that says, people don't understand me. Essentially, looking for reasons to reinforce the belief that people don't like you. And you will find those reasons just like I found all the Jeep Wranglers. And the thing is, at this point, you're not even looking for them. Your reticular activating system is just going to put them in front of your face. And as a result, you get confirmation of that belief. So let's take that idea of my coworkers don't like me. Your reticular activating system is now going to filter information that reinforces this idea. So you walk into the office, and several colleagues are near the break room talking and laughing. Your reticular activating system kicks into gear, and you think, what are they laughing at? I bet they're talking about me. So you walk by with an annoyed look on your face, and then you see your boss. She walks right by you without saying a word. Your reticular activating system says, I knew it. She probably doesn't like my work. When you see her later in the day, you walk by without making eye contact. So Friday rolls around and someone tells you, hey, we're going out after work. The boss is going to buy us drinks. We're going to celebrate the project we just finished. Are you going to come? And the look of disdain on your face clearly says you're not going. And why would you? Your colleagues were laughing at you earlier in the week, and your boss clearly doesn't want you there. She's dissatisfied with your work. In reality, your coworkers were laughing about the latest episode of a comedy series on HBO. And your boss was in a hurry to join an important Zoom call about the project your team just finished. See, these things you thought about your coworkers don't need to be true. You just need to have your filter set to rejection. And your reticular activating system will filter things to fit that idea. Now, if you keep this going, your colleagues will start to avoid you. Not because they dislike you, but because the energy that you're putting out is that you don't want to interact with them. You're not being a team player. Now you've created the very thing that you feared. Before we talk about the second thing and pull everything together, please like and subscribe if you're enjoying this. That way you can see more of my content in the future. And there's also a link in the description for a free guided meditation. Your physical external world is a mirror of your internal world. If you feel unworthy of love internally, you won't have love in your life. And it's not that love isn't around. You just won't see it, or you'll ignore loving gestures. Or if in your mind you constantly worry about not having enough, that will be reflected in your physical world. You might spend money on things you don't need, or even ignore opportunities to make money, all to reinforce the idea that there's not enough. And that reflection that you see in your physical world is a result of things you've thought in the past. So if every day for the past year you've thought about how you're unworthy of love, when you wake up this morning, you'll continue to see that reflected in your physical world. Today, in this present moment, you're seeing a reflection of your internal world from the past. So if your state of being says you're unworthy of love, you can't expect to find love in that reflection. So it would be like if in this picture, your state of being is one of poverty, but you want the reflection to be one of abundance. Your state of being creates your internal reality, and then it's manifested in your physical world. When you broadcast a frequency of a thing, you get that thing. It's like if you were ordering in a restaurant. Your state of being orders chicken nuggets. You get chicken nuggets. Now, if I ordered chicken nuggets, should I be upset because the waiter didn't bring me steak? Now, that may sound a little crazy, but that's what many of us do. Our internal state is ordering loneliness, and we're upset because the universe doesn't bring us love. We order poor health, and we're frustrated when we aren't healthy. I talk about creating your reality and manifesting, and inevitably, I get comments from people that say, well, if we create our reality, why aren't we all billionaires with private islands? Well, if you order poverty, you don't get a private island. Think about this. You have that friend or family member, right? That one who is unlucky in love. When you look at their partner, they always seem to be with the same type of person. That person may look a little different, but the personality and the relationship dynamic is essentially the same. They keep saying they want a healthy relationship, so what's happening? Well, internally, they're ordering that toxic person. Now, it could be because of self-esteem or examples they saw growing up, but ultimately they send out a frequency that attracts that toxic person. If you don't know that friend or family member I'm talking about, it's probably you. But in any case, you or that friend or family member is sending out a frequency that is attracting toxic partners and loneliness. And I want to be clear, I am not saying they deserve this. They consciously want something else. But the subconscious is in control and it will always win. So can you see why we don't all have the perfect partner and private islands? So let's pull these two things together. How do the reticular activating system and the mirror principle work together to keep you stuck? Let's go back to our example with the coworkers. It starts with a negative thought. The thought is, my coworkers don't like me. Now, your reticular activating system kicks in and it starts looking for things to support this thought. The coworkers were laughing when I walked in and my boss didn't talk to me. Then you say, see, I knew it. Now, if you do this long enough, momentum starts to build. It starts to affect your internal state. Now the mirror principle kicks in. Because that idea, my coworkers don't like me, is in your internal state, it becomes reflected even more in your external world. You placed an order for that. Now you've got this loop where you order the thing you don't want because of your belief, and then you start to look for evidence to reinforce that belief. And then your internal state orders more of what you got. Now you don't even know you're doing it. It's just your reality. So what should we do about this? In cases like this, it helps to ask, what am I thinking that makes me feel this way? And is this true? Now, if you don't have evidence to support this idea, you need to replace it. Here's an example of how this works. You text your friend. Hours later, they still haven't responded. Now, a lot of people would think, well, why haven't they replied yet? Are they mad at me? Now, you could continue with this thought process, feeling bad about this hypothetical scenario, or you could say, what am I thinking that's making me feel this way? And is it true? And after thinking about it, you could say, well, I have no reason to believe that they're mad at me. Maybe they're just busy. Now you can relax without the negative feelings. You'll probably find out that they didn't see the text, or they forgot to take their phone off silent mode, or their phone needed to be charged. So let's apply this to the coworker example. You have this negative feeling about your coworkers. You ask yourself, what am I thinking that makes me feel this way? And you'll say, well, my coworkers don't like me. Then the question is, what evidence do I have to support this? And is it true? Well, they were laughing when you got off the elevator, but that doesn't mean they were laughing at you. And with your boss, you could simply ask for feedback about your performance on the last project. That would immediately clear things up with her. Now, this isn't a one-time thing. You're going to have to revisit this part of the exercise. One time won't completely get rid of this idea if it's deeply ingrained. So now you can start to put a new idea in its place. Something like, I am a valuable employee and every day I do things to help support the mission of this organization. And as you visualize yourself doing this, you're starting to change your state. You're placing an order for this to show up in your life, and the mirror principle will make this happen. And your reticular activating system will start to look for things that support this idea. That frequency feedback loop is now working in a positive way for you. And just like using the frequency feedback loop negatively, if you do this enough, it becomes automatic. You won't even know you're doing it. Like the people that you meet from time to time that are always positive and things just always seem to work out for them, they don't even know they're doing it. So try this exercise. It works for everything. Whether you want love, abundance, health, let me know in the comments how it goes, and I'll see you next time on Closer to Your Higher Self.